Mandalorian episode 6, Guns for Hire. What did I think of this one? Spoilers in the image behind me. Bo's got the dark saber and Mando's still alive. Now, some people might be scratching their head thinking, how the hell did that happen? But the start of the show told you. It showed you. It showed that Bo had taken out the robot that was hiding the creature in the robot with the dark saber, which that creature had, of course, taken out Mando, sort of thing. And if it wasn't for Bo, Mando would be dead. So in that case, this is rightly what Mando says. He was defeated, and then Bo defeated the enemy that defeated him. Therefore, the Darksaber should belong to her. Is that not true? And they all agreed. So yeah. So that part of it was satisfying, and I actually thought at the time, why doesn't Bo have it? Because Mando had lost the Darksaber at that point. She should have really had it in the minds of Mandalore. But anyway, moving on. She does now. That's all that matters. So the rest of the episode, well, the fight that she had, that was decent enough and believable enough, so I can go with that. So I've got no qualms about this end scene in terms of the steps of logic that took place. Guns for hire, Mandalorians for hire. Firstly, we've got an interspecies couple. I don't know. The way the Mon Calamari was acting was almost like he was a school-age kid, and a woman in charge of a fleet is somehow the school-age kid Mon Cal is infatuated with this woman, and just I don't know. I just feel that didn't need to be the plot. There could have been something different other than the Mon Cal Junior, whatever. There could have been a different reason. And then, so not to do with interracial species, we then have the interracial couple. And I thought, yep, there, that check box is being ticked. Mando's checked that one off the list of inclusion and diversity to put forth. And it was rather funny because I just finished watching Dungeons and Dragons with a theme. That was a little bit of a theme that was in that as well, like with Holga's boyfriend, husband, or whatever the hell he was. And that just was a little bit funny to me, that I'd just seen watching that, and then I've come into Mando to see two episodes or two instances of this, forbidden love or something, whatever, going on. Okay, outside of that, let's move on from that to the actual dynamics of the show. Look, I think there was an Easter egg with the Empire R2 unit and protocol droid standing next to each other, because it was kind of, that's more like iconic C3PO and R2. So I kind of thought, yeah, whatever. But outside of that, the city under the dome, it reminded me of the Hunger Games. Area 1, out of touch with everything else. And it also reminded me of an episode of Star Trek where members of the Enterprise were beamed onto a planet, and then some force from that planet pushed the Enterprise away, and they were like 3 or 4 days away. And it happened in seconds. So they were puzzled at that. But it turns out the reason these people were beamed down was to fix their technology, because no one there knew how to fix it anymore, because they had all this technology to do stuff, and they had spent their time devoted to the arts and entertainments. And that's what, like this planet, everyone's devoted to the arts and entertainment and bullshit, while the droids are performing all the functions. But who's going to fix the droids? So it kind of reminded me of that. Now, the Ugnaughts were correct when they said it's not us, it's not our bad workmanship that has made this happen. They were correct in that, because it turns out those robots had been sabotaged through nanobots in oil or some crap like that. Whatever. They found the bad guy. The dialogue in that whole city thing, in the little trains and the tubes, to me, it seemed like it's very hard to judge the dialogue when the editing, I felt, was poor. So what I mean is, the actor might have one line, and the line simply might be, I didn't do it. And you might have an actor say something, cut to the actor saying I didn't do it, and then cut away to something else, like the other person's reaction or something. But if you have a beat too long before that cut takes place and a beat too long before you hear them say I didn't do it, then the dialogue it comes across as a little bit disjointed and not flowing. And that's what I felt. The dialogue just didn't seem to flow, and it might have just been half a second too long between edits to make it flow. I'm guessing half a second too long, but that could, it's like if you want to watch how tight editing can be on dialogue, go watch a video from Philly D. When he says some stuff, he's like so many jump cuts, but it flows as if you just listened and didn't watch it, you wouldn't pick the jump cuts. That's what I'm getting at. And in this case, there just seem to be the little pauses too much before or after the dialogue. So I don't know if the same editor did this. I didn't watch the credits, and it only took me a while to figure out what was wrong. And I think that was it. The idiocy of that whole Area 1, Hunger Games Area 1, Under the Dome people. Look, I'm sure there's people like that, but it was just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Then Grogu gets knighted. Then suddenly they're calling this woman Milady, and that wasn't how there was an address going on at the start. No one was calling her Milady, but then suddenly they were at the end. And then that just reminded me of the idiocy of Jar Jar Binks bowing to Padme and calling her Milady and all. It's like, yeah, I'm sure that sort of thing happens, but it seems like a disjointed, convoluted sort of a thing that's been thrown into the movie. And if it was a throwback to the original Star Wars to link that Milady phraseology, and we go, oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember. I didn't like it then. I didn't like it now. So overall, look, I suppose maybe there was a red herring with the Mandos being for hire, whoever's got the most money. So we've got the thing with the Beskar alloy in the Moff Gideon ship, and you got Mandos for hire. But the difference is it was Beskar alloy, not Beskar, which to me is probably meaning it's going to be Dark Troopers. Because we know Moff Gideon and et al., they had shitloads of Beskar, so they could do whatever they wanted with it. Make an alloy, make some Dark Troopers. Okay, overall, the episode didn't grab me. It wasn't really that enjoyable to me. It was okay. It was an okay, mediocre type of episode. That's how I felt about it. The story progressed nicely. The editing, I think, could have been improved. And then that editing made some of the dialogue interactions seem weird and forced in some way. But anyway, Bo's got the Darksaber. So all she needs to do now is tame the Mythosaur somehow, some way, shape or form. And I still think IG is going to play a part in this. Obviously, we don't know the big bad threat for the last two episodes. My money is the last two episodes, really one episode cut into two to reveal the threat and then how they get out of that. But that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below.